dressing up as his fake sister, like Jethro Bodine in the Beverly Hillbillies, or a fucking snake sock on his arm being charmed by a fucking, snake charmer and taken off on its own away from him, and and the funny walk, and from the time he got in the ring to the time he left, it was one big fucking joke, and it was meant to appeal to the level of a fucking 9-year-old.
Those ingredients mean a Nora warrior.
Gym number one. So who can beat that?
Of Regala?
R-Truth.
Right? There's not a river in the land that doesn't cross the cream pot.
I wouldn't have thought. You may be right, because now he's the biggest joke on the current big TV. The 24/7 belt, and obviously just playing the part of a complete fucking child-minded idiot who can't possibly believe any of the situations he's put in, and trying to cut those over-the-top promos, acting like it's ever going to get over. They've reduced him to
the people here would stick their heads in the ground.
Basically a fucking joke. Can he ever wrestle a serious match in the WWE again?
Any of them.
Could he ever be put in the ring again with normal people in normal matches and anybody not just giggle when they see him? No, this is not a rhetorical question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they could.
After all of these covered up in fucking Old Spice displays and...
Let's talk about another topic that's been happening in and around the world of wrestling, and a lot of people have written in and want to get your thoughts on the passing of Rocky King.
There are all sorts of benefits.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that yesterday.
You vary your diet, you benefit.
And obviously Rocky wasn't in the business for 30 years or whatever, but
they drink all that beer
it was
and
during
come out
that...
barrel-shaped.
Last half of the 80s period of time when now all of those shows are on Peacock, the WCW and Crockett shows, and some of those guys have had a resurgence because people can see them again. And that was one of the first angles that we worked when we came to work for Crockett was the original, obviously the linchpin of the thing was the Midnight Express in a feud with Jimmy Valiant and partners that would be explained at various points, like Ronnie Garvin, and who later became Miss Atlanta Lively, unfortunately, and superstar Billy Graham was involved with Jimmy Valiant at one point because Graham was trying to get back in the business there, and Crockett was using him, but they weren't great matches. But what name power, my God, you had stars from 3 different decades. But Rocky King had been doing jobs on TV and working underneath, and they booked him on, some underneath matches at the house shows, but Dusty liked him. He had a great body, especially for the time, and especially for a lot of the other guys that were doing jobs. So somebody tweeted a Midnight Express versus Rocky King and Ron Rossi match. Do you remember Ron Rossi?
I do.
Nicest guy in the world, tried his hardest, just wanted to be a part of the show, had no ego or whatever, but my God, he looked like a baked potato with arms, legs, and mustache. And so Rocky was athletic, and he had personality, he had the big smile, and people kind of started liking him. Dusty wanted to use him. So we had the, match with them, and ended up, for whatever, because we're heels, kicking the shit out of Rocky King when he bowed up a little bit at us, and here comes Jimmy Valiant to make the save, and he brings Rocky King into his group of the street people. And later on, maybe Rocky was driving Big Mama around when she was looking for Handsome Jimmy, the Boogie Woogie Man. But, so that Rocky got a chance to, to be involved in a bit of an angle and work with some of the top guys. And again, he was great. He knew that he was probably going to be the one dropping the ball on that side because, when you're in with Jimmy Valiant and Superstar Graham and Ronnie Garvin or whatever, he knew he was not there yet, but he was thankful for the opportunity and easy to work with. He got so fucking excited, though, at first because he'd never been featured, right? So finally, one night it was a little small town in Virginia, right across the border from North Carolina that Crockett used to run. And it was a little small town, but we'd go in this gym and do, 1,500 people or whatever. and I'm trying to remember the name of it, but nevertheless, Valiant actually, because we're going to win, so Valiant sells and gives Rocky the tag, and Rocky is so excited to get the hot tag and make a comeback that he leaps over the top rope, almost, caught his left toe on the top, and he's never let go of the top rope, so he spun in over the top at like 5,000 miles an hour. He jumps, hits a quick spin, landed on his feet, still holding on the top rope, jerked himself to his feet, and started doing drop kicks. It was a goddamn, if you didn't know, you would have almost thought he tried to do it that way. But anyway, after that ran for a while, he still stayed around the area because he was living in Georgia, and they would use him intermittently. I think he was back in 87 and 88, and then, of course, what was it, 90 or 91 or 90, Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin were the Freebirds, and they lost the opportunity to get Gordy because he was...
I think that was 91. 1990, I believe, when Ole brought him in to do the whole racist angle with Eric the Junkyard Dog. It started with Rocky King and the Horsemen cornering Rocky King before Jay White came out of the crowd to see.
Yeah, I forgot about that, thankfully. None of that was particularly a high point, but yes. Ole loved to do the... There was a market for it when it was Atlanta television. With, the heel making fun of the black babyface being Tony Atlas and et cetera, because the wrestling fans there, the audience in Georgia and that part of the country was probably split 50-50, and most of them, obviously, whether they were white or black, they were on the side of the black antagonistic white heels were saying all these horrible things. But it didn't work nor fly in 1990 when the show's being seen all over the fucking country, and it didn't work. But then it wasn't quite as tasteless, but at the same time probably didn't work any better when he became a member of the Freebirds, but at least he got another chance to do something. Little Richard Marley was one of them. And so the Freebirds... And see, this was the thing, again, sometimes, if the Midnight Express had lasted 20 years uninterrupted as a team, we probably would have had to change some shit too. But we had the 7, we did change one partner, one whole member of the team. We had 7 years, and then the reunions, we're just doing the greatest hits catalog because, that's what everybody wanted to see at that point, and it wasn't like we were trying to get over and work regular. The Freebirds, in trying to update themselves in various incarnations, went completely fucking mad and lost the plot. And these three redneck, fucking southern psychopaths, whiskey drinking fucking hellraisers from the South with the Stars and Bars and the whole 9 yards and Freebird and Leonard Skinner music. 10 years later, there's Michael Hayes moonwalking with one fucking glove on like Michael Jackson. He's wearing eyeliner like David Bowie. Jimmy Garvin has joined the team and he's in fucking sequins. And they're still using the Skinner music, but now only the fast-paced instrumental. And then they get a black kid named Little Richard Marley, named after both Little Richard and Bob Marley. And all of those things individually may be great, but together, I don't know what the fuck they were doing, and nobody else did either, and that's why I didn't get up. But Rocky got a chance to fucking do. They mentioned in some of the stories about Rocky, even though he didn't become a major star to make a ton of money, but he had since then, because he was homeless before he started in wrestling, and it was a dream of his to be on TV, and just those checks were big to him. And since then, he's raised money for the homeless. He would feed, hungry people in the Atlanta area, the homeless missions. He was always trying to kids, do charity work or whatever. So, you know, it was a great guy. I hate that. And did they say what happened? I think that's the only piece of information I didn't retain from the news was what actually happened. But he wasn't. Is he 60? 62? Somewhere around my age, I would think. Or younger? That's not comforting. How old was he?
I didn't have his age in front of me.
You don't have it in front of you? You don't instantly know Rocky's age? Well, let's see. Hold on. He was starting around, he'd be around 60, one way or the other.
It says here he was born in 1960.
Yeah, so 62, almost maybe. So, okay. But we're too young regardless. And so I hate that. I hadn't seen him gone 20-something years or whatever. But, you know, there you go. Nobody lives forever, and I guess we're not all of us going to get out of here alive, as they say.
There was another Dave Shearer from.
Well, if you want to just bring that up right now, I'll be happy to share that with everybody. No, actually, one of his question and answer columns on the pwinsider.com website, I'll give that plug, that basically the question was, why are AEW fans so sensitive and indifferent to any criticism? And obviously we've been talking about this. And Dave goes into some details about, for example, how after the Shaq and Cody match, where they did the big number here several weeks ago, by the following week, 200,000 of them picked, I won't come back. And they keep saying, well, we're beating NXT, WWE's developmental brand. Well, he makes the point, if AEW Dark Elevation only lost to Raw about 50,000 viewers, do you think that WWE would be saying, we beat them? No, it's ridiculous. But he brings up a good point. Hold on, and I'm trying to find it. I'm reading this off the screen. The reason why some of these people are so defensive, the AEW fan, and we understand that, yes, they love and support wrestling, blah, blah, blah. But why they not only can't see what's in front of them, but also why they get so fucking wound up and get their panties in a wad when you point out what's in front of them. He says fan is short for fanatic. When some people like something a lot, they lose their ability to be fair and impartial. They love it, so it's the best thing ever. Also, for a lot of wrestling fans and some reporters, AEW is exactly what they've always said that the business has needed to knock off WWE and bring in a better version of wrestling. They feel that the masses would have seen that vision and bring Vince McMahon to his knees. AEW does all of the things that those fans want, like blood, inside lingo, shots at WWE. So if AEW can't knock off WWE, that means that what those people have always believed would change the business was wrong. It would mean that what they believe wrestling should be can't even attract half the audience that Raw does, and only about half of that in the coveted demo. It means Vince McMahon is more right than they are, and they will fight that to the bitter end. They don't want to admit they were wrong, and what they like has a place at the table, but doesn't attract the masses the way that Vince does. That's a hard pill for them to swallow, because it blows the theory that they have had for years, but has never been put to the test until now. And there's a little bit more, but I will throw in a comment. Vince won the war against a better wrestling product in the 80s because he had a better business and a better vision, and he was a better businessman. He persevered through the war in the 90s, even though sometimes he might have had the better wrestling, but sometimes he didn't with that era, because WCW was all over the page, because he was a better businessman, he had a better run business, and he persevered because he had a vision, and he didn't fucking, he changed it, but he still didn't goddamn freak the fuck out. We made this point on one of the shows last week. We talked about Vince congratulating Big Show. But Vince has not even freaked out about this. This has not even been a war to him. He threw a little stumbling block in their path with NXT just to fuck with them a little bit. But now he's realized that they're not even fighting this anymore because it is what it is. And that's the point of this column, is that they are limiting themselves in AEW to the people that are already going to like this stuff anyway, and that's not enough to shake Vince. So he continues on. It's always a good thing to have more viewers instead of less. Do they need those new viewers now? As long as TNT is happy? No, they don't. If we get to the point where TNT isn't happy, then that's another issue. But he mentioned, and he had given some details as well earlier, if you compare year to year,
If that viewer, I will listen to Chef
AEW has
Special.
less viewers every
I will
month in
try it.
2021 versus
That
2020.
slime sickens me. It's
The
your
loss
whining
was about 10%
entrance
a
stomachs
year of
around
the
here.
erosion of the viewership. We went
But
through
the
those
Zeal will
numbers.
put that right.
Erosion is never the preferred direction any TV show wants. But anyone who doesn't think that the company needs new viewers to replace them isn't someone anyone should take seriously. So basically, in summation, he writes, there are some people in my position that love AEW and heap effusive praise on it. Then there are people like Jim Cornette, thank you, Dave, and to a lesser degree myself, who don't like a lot of things about the product and offer our criticism for Tony Khan's consideration. He's a billionaire and doesn't have to listen to us. But as a businessman, what would you do? Continually seek the adoration of people who already love what you're doing while your viewership is falling? Or would you listen to respected people when they point out things that they think you are doing wrong and back those opinions with solid, valid reasoning? And he says, me, I would do the latter. The fans you mentioned in the question, they would not. So that's the thing. The points that we are making to these people, that for whatever reason that they just can't figure out, is that we have not been against an alternative to the WWF, and for all the reasons that we've mentioned. From the current wrestling product to owning all of wrestling history. Somebody needs to be out there doing something else. And it would have been wonderful if this was it. But the problem was, this isn't it, even though people wanted it to be it, and it ain't going to be it. Because it's some amateur hour bullshit that appeals to a small amount of people, to the point where Vince created a broadcast version of his number 3 TV show to put against it just to see, and has now quit fighting that fucking war. Because that's where their numbers are, because you're only going to watch nonsensical wrestling with no continuity and subpar talent across the board, underneath, and questionable, spotty on top. If you have a personal vested interest in being proven right somehow by this being a good television program, and it's not, because the fucking guy booking it is an amateur, and everybody has just patted themselves on the back until they've blown their rotator cuffs on how great they are when they ain't great. And they won't listen. What do you think, Brian?
Well, I mean, there's a lot that you covered there. In terms of the viewership, I think Dave Shearer had a good point. If TNT is happy with 800,000 viewers per week, and I expect that number to go up slightly because NXT won't be running directly against it. They're moving to Tuesdays, which, funny enough, caused Impact Wrestling to announce they're moving to Thursdays, so they're not up against NXT.
Why don't they move to the moon?
They kind of are there already.
That's true. The dark side. Go ahead.
But I think Dave Shearer had a really good point there, because that's really what it's about. If TNT's happy with that number, and I think they are, they're happy with the key demo, as it's always talked about, and the overall number, then they're okay. And while you would think to break out and really make it an incredibly successful business, you would want to increase the amount of people that are coming in the door and checking it out and staying after they check it out. The other way to look at it is, AEW, let's say on average, and I may be slightly wrong here, maybe a little bit above it, a little bit below it, but on average, they're getting 120,000 buys per pay-per-view. That's a pretty good conversion rate. I mean, again, it's their hardcore audience. It's the people that are going to tune in, even if there is a song and dance segment or a bad wedding or whatever it may be, they're coming back. But they're converting a pretty significant chunk of that audience into paying customers.
Yeah.
4 times a year at $50 a pop. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, the people that, for the kind of people who like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing those people like. The people that are dedicated followers are going to go all the way with it. And they're the ones that they mentioned have always thought the business needed to bring Vince to his, or they needed to bring Vince to his knees, and the business needed something else, and that's what they want. So of course they're going to be the most sensitive to criticism and the most unable. I've said this to me, when somebody is over, you can't see the flaws. Steve Austin, worker and talent and mega box office traction he was, the stomp in the mud hole, those were the fakest looking kicks in the world. But the people were going out of their fucking minds because he was over. The people that believe, that have been taught that whatever AEW is doing is wrestling, and they want it to be so, they can't see the guy slipping off the top rope and falling on his ass, or missing the choreographed alley-oop in the cheerleading routine, because they want it to be so good. And that's what, in a lot of cases, carried some of the guys in the territories, and in all of wrestling history, is that if you could get over, people wouldn't see your flaws. They wouldn't be as glaring as if you were just some schlub that was out there cold. So, but at the same time, you wonder when that they see that the Emperor has no clothes and his little dinghy is swinging around in the wind for all to look at. And what does it take? Them just coming out and just taking a shit in the ring?
I don't think the majority of those fans are getting turned away. I think the fans that are in there already, there may be some that get disappointed. We've talked about just recently Cody. There are a lot of hardcore AEW fans that don't like Cody, and that number grows each and every week, it seems. If all of a sudden Cody got pushed into the top spot, made the world champion, he's all over that TV, I do think something like that could cause some of those people to say, you know what, I'm going to take a break. Omega and the Bucks, it's not happening like that.
If they did probably the smartest thing they could do with their title, considering what they've done in the past, that would probably send the fans over the edge. But the fucking Maki Ito doesn't run people off.
You think giving Cody the title would be the smartest thing they could do?
Well, look who's got it now. I'm not saying it,
but Omega makes the AEW fan happier than Cody does. And if we're talking about catering to that audience versus the idea of growing that audience, because then you could have Steve Austin as a champion. If the booker is putting together a show the way they are, you're not going to get all these new people in the door. So it's about what you have.
Then let me rephrase what I said. Just the best guy that would probably be there of their EVPs or top guys to carry the title and have the fucking best matches that make the most sense is Cody out of that little conglomeration, because Jericho can't perform at Cody's level anymore because we've seen that, poor fella, low carb Chris. Twinkle Toes is an idiot. I'm not saying Paige wouldn't be better, but Cody's got more experience, and Cody can put a big show match together, even if he does go into the, a little bit overdone finishes, not nearly as overdone as the Lucha Brothers or whatever, for God's sake. So, as a worker and a guy with the ability to have a logical big show match with, a wide variety of people, Cody would be the best guy to fucking have the title. But, I don't. I've long since tried to give up making sense of anything they do.
Come and make your choice.
But it's your show.
Yeah, it's my show. We didn't really talk about the fans, why they're sensitive, which was the whole point of the email.
Well, no, that's why I said that was the point of what I was saying. The reason why they're so sensitive is because They have a vested interest in this. That small group, they're going to be proven wrong if this thing flops. That's why they're so sensitive, because it's like you're telling them they're idiots, because this is going to be the thing. Well, no, it ain't going to be the thing. Open up your eyes. But that's why they're fucking mad. They're sensitive because they thought that this ragtag band of indie talent collected together under a completely inexperienced booker with a wide variety of EVPs all pushing different styles, most of which make no fucking sense and only appeal to their friends and followers. They thought that this was going to be it, and Vince was going to be shitting himself, shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds, and it ain't happening, and they're pissed. That's why they're so sensitive, because as I've said many times, as a heel, I was very funny for a heel in those days, but because the people believed that I was an asshole, the ones I was going for didn't laugh at the jokes. When I would criticize Ricky and Robert, it might be a funny line for people that were smart to the business or somebody just walking by, but the goddamn little girls that liked Ricky and Robert didn't think it was funny. Like a joke about your ugly wife. Somebody else's ugly wife, that joke's funny, but if your wife's ugly, it ain't funny. And that's their problem, these AEW fans. We're pointing out the obvious that everybody else can see that's liked wrestling for 1,000,000 years and sees this looks nothing like it. But these people, they're like, he's calling my wife ugly. Well, she just happens to be.
And I always think back to the idea that, you said it before, we were led to believe this would be an alternative to WWE, not alternative WWE. This is an independent version of WWE. And what so many of us hoped for was, and I'm not saying you could just go copy Mid-South in 1984, but the point of it was that Mid-South pretended it was legitimate. I shouldn't even use the word pretend. Mid-South on TV was legitimate.
Yes.
Whatever happened off TV didn't matter. On TV, everything was logical, it was reasonable, it was presented like adults having issues. At times, some of them are wacky. At times, some of them are really serious. It wasn't this wrestling variety show with wrestling-level comedy and skits and things that don't make any sense and logic holes in everything you do. And sports-based wrestling was a term they threw out there, not us. But then again, they also let people believe they were going to give the wrestlers health insurance, and that didn't happen either.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Well, that was fucking insane on the surface of it to begin with also. Which, as a matter of fact, I believe I can't say what I told Tony Khan on that conversation with the NDA, so I won't say that. But it would, just as a casual observer with no inside knowledge, that would be a nutty thing to try to do if you only go fucking run TV one day a week and let your guys work for other people.
Jim, another popular topic I'm sure you're aware of, I don't know how much you've read it, I'm just catching up on all this myself. WWE President Nick Khan did an interview with Ariel Helwani. And a lot of the comments and quotes from this have gone viral and people are talking about them. And have you seen any of this?
I've read, I didn't listen to the tape, I read some of the transcripts, right, and the comments. And are we absolutely, positively sure that Nick Khan and Tony Khan are not related?
I believe we are sure.
Are you sure this is, maybe even their brothers-in-law or something? Is there some under-the-table con going on here?
No.
Because I got to be honest with you, things are changing quickly. Yes. And we've said that, sorry, folks, for those of you out there listening, Twinkle Toes McFingerbang and the Cucamonga Kids were not going to get the job done on a real television program in a real wrestling promotion on a real mainstream basis in the real world. And they haven't so far. They've had their dedicated 1 million or less viewers and the people that will fly anywhere and pay any amount of money to see the guy stick his hands in his pockets and, you know, people just parody wrestling, but it was a niche product. And it was never going to get any bigger with those guys because they don't know how to get bigger. And that's why I think that Vince McMahon completely dismissed them. And I've said this before, the WWE 2 years ago was giving mid-card guys $750,000 a year offers for multiple years to get them to not sign with the new promotion that a billionaire's son was starting. Then they saw the promotion, and they saw what it looked like on television. They saw who they were employing. And around about that time, Vince McMahon fired the two people that were in charge of his company that were giving all those big offers out, right? And I believe I mentioned that I'm not surprised because now that Vince has seen this television program, he knows they've got nothing to worry about. And that was 2 years ago next month, right? Well, what he didn't realize, and what apparently nobody else thought of either, is when he fired the two that were running the company before, and he brings in this Hollywood mover and shaker, old Nick Khan, who's running this company like a movie studio or Disney on Parade or, you know, any other Hollywood entity, and just assuming that you have an endless supply of actors and they play parts, and it's all the things that somebody who doesn't know anything about wrestling, never been involved in wrestling, would assume about wrestling. Now they're pissing off so much fucking talent, either pissing them off with the way they're portrayed, pissing them off with the way they're treated, pissing them off in general, that this worm is starting to turn and turn quickly. And I was right with Vince on not giving mid-card guys ridiculous amounts of money to stay for this promotion that now you can see what it looks like. It's the shits and it ain't going anywhere, and fuck it. But that doesn't mean that you should be actively firing, releasing, humiliating, demeaning, or pissing off the stars that you have that a bunch of people know. Because now they wouldn't make up with CM Punk. They fired him on his wedding day. They did all that other shit. They sued him and tried to bankrupt him. So he goes for a bunch of money. And what did they do? The TV show that he debuted on a new night, later in the night, did what the fifth highest number that their Wednesday night show would have ever done, or maybe fourth. Over 1 million people. They tried their regular show in that same time slot a couple months ago, and ended up with 500,000. They doubled that for CM Punk on a Friday night. And he brought as many people to the show himself as they had watching everybody else put together.
And he wasn't advertised.
And he wasn't advertised. And that's probably, as we mentioned, going to be reflected in the ratings going forwards with everything that he's on. And we said, what, last week? Is he going to break 200,000, 250,000 on a regular basis? Maybe we'll find out. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Bryan Danielson, who loves to wrestle, and if he had been probably treated better there in his various stints and used to more of his potential and what he deserved with the following he had, you can't tell me he would have left there and gone to some new place all of a sudden. But no, now he's going to show up next month, and that stadium in New York is going to go batshit. The babies are going to fly in the air. Hopefully people have tennis rackets to bat the babies away from them when they come back down.
No. There'll be no batting of babies.
No batting of babies. Bray Wyatt. Now they're talking that he's going to go there because they just let this guy go. And I know they had done almost everything that they could do to him, including setting him on fire and burning him alive in the middle of the ring, but that's their fault. The guy, everybody that I've talked to, everybody, wrestling fan and casual fan alike, has said, yeah, it was great when he was the leader of the Wyatt family and the Swamp people and all that stuff. When the Fiend came along and all the supernatural bullshit and you started watching him, Cornette, that's when everything went to shit. So if they get Bray Wyatt without making him this puppeteer with these fucking silly, goofy puppets and the foolish science fiction stuff, and he doesn't sell being run over by a truck, if they get Bray Wyatt wrestler that apparently people liked before the WWE ruined him, there's something. Ric Flair. Ric fucking Flair. He would have been content to work with and for Vince McMahon and the WWE for the rest of his natural life, which he's already 70. He'll be 72 no, he was 72 in February. But instead, they make him look like a complete fucking moron in that love triangle thing with Lacey Evans. And then not only was it a bad angle, but then she gets pregnant and just goes home and drops the whole thing, and he's turned on his daughter. I'm telling you, they ought to have no pregnancy clauses in these women's contracts. So now Flair's pissed off and tells Vince he doesn't like the way that Charlotte's being booked, and why would he? She was just in the ring with a goddamn 12-year-old in a homemade costume. And Vince, I guess that it basically went like, well, if you don't like it, pal, you want your release? Yeah, I goddamn do. I can see that happening from both those people. So now Flair's released. He'll be showing up anytime. Are they going to piss Charlotte off so that she can join her father and her fiancé, fiancé? Then they've lost that. Who gets pissed next? I'm sure Braun Strowman. They can afford Braun Strowman. That even AEW is not that stupid. They bring that big lunkhead in and pay him a bunch of money, but they could if they wanted to.
Hey, realistically, depending on the multiple they wanted, and again, to be majority owner, you don't have to put up majority cash. If the cons wanted to, they could buy fucking WWE. When everyone's talking about a WWE sale, don't overlook the fact that that's the family that could actually do it if they wanted to. I don't know if Vince would want to sell it. Nick Khan probably would. He's just looking for a deal.
Well, and see, that's the thing, is that we started this talking about Nick Khan. He's gone completely the opposite direction. From whereas they were bribing people not to go to AEW, now they're rushing them out the door. But they're not. The reason why I'm sure that everybody took the first look at AEW and said, well, there's no reason to be upset here, because, again, look at the show. Whether you like it or not, whether it's AEW fans out there not wanting to hear this,
I'll be there soon.
it went on the air as a complete clusterfuck. Nobody knew what they were doing. Subpar talent. They were featuring Jelly Nutella and Sonny Kiss as a tag team. Remember the legless boy in the Battle Royal? The team was the shit. Then the pandemic happened. The team was even shittier. They didn't have mainstream talent. They didn't have people that the average person would view as stars. It was left up to the booker to make them stars. We all know about the booking. It's been nonsensical and erratic since day one. So they were looking at that show going, well, they're hopeless. But they didn't look at that show and what would happen to it if they suddenly gave them half a dozen or more nationally known mainstream stars. Adam Cole. When's Adam Cole? He's done unless they smarten up and give him whatever he wants to stay. And you said it yourself, Vince will probably never use him on the main roster, so he knows he's limited. He can go over there and be with his girlfriend, probably make as much money as he can, work less, and his friends. And play with his friends, because a lot of these guys, it's not about business, it's about playing with their friends. And the reason why everybody wants to go to AEW is because they know we can do whatever we want. We'll be allowed to do anything we want. Because Tony Khan is the nicest guy in the world. He'll let us do anything and pay us a bunch of money. And he doesn't know how to book. So it's even more likely that we'll be able to do whatever we want to do. And all those guys saying that don't understand that they don't know what they ought to be doing. And you have no authority figure. I'm not talking about a big TV authority figure. I'm talking about the guy that runs that fucking locker room, that puts his foot down and runs everything with a fucking iron hand, and nobody steps out of line. And here's the rules that we stick by in this fucking company, and you will stick by them or you will be out on your ass, etc., etc. There's nobody. It's just, hey, let's put on a show. What do you do for dinner afterwards? Yeah, let's go to dinner. And that's so they're getting handed major stars. And then Nintendo, because Nick Thomas running this thing like a Hollywood studio, and there's just an endless supply of actors and an endless supply of everything. They've completely lost the plot, and they've handed Tony Duck for all the bad booking. You don't know what's going to happen because everybody is headed there because they've all been mistreated, demeaned, demoralized, pissed off, whatever. Tim Walber! And then this before we went on the air, there was a clip that AEW put out, and I retweeted this, on Punk's return that night at Rampage. AEW put out a special, movie on their YouTube channel or whatever, but behind the scenes of Punk's return. And one of the things they did was they put a camera in the production truck. And you've got to hear the director and see the director calling the camera shots and running the production while Punk was making his entrance in that building. And either the entrance would be in a small screen and you'd see the camera in the truck, or elsewise it would come back to the audience for a while, but you would still hear the director. Jimmy Walbert is the director. He's the best live event wrestling director on the planet Earth. He did 20-something camera shoots for WrestleMania. He started out in the 80s as a handheld camera guy for the WWF. And years ago, he's not a fan, let's just say, like everybody else, he's not a fan of Kevin Dunn's demeanor or his personality or the way he treats people. So he said, fuck the WWF. He went and did Major League Baseball. Kenny Walbert has directed fucking World Series games, for fuck's sake. And he came back, he did a couple of shows for TNA back when I was there, simply because they were transitioning, needed a director, but he couldn't, he likes wrestling and he did it. Honestly listed as great because he likes wrestling, but they couldn't use him full time because he was doing Major League Baseball. He's the guy that went in Ring of Honor. He lived down the road from Baltimore, in Maryland. He brought a former handheld camera guy named Chris Lacaria to he directed one of the Ring of Honor TV tapings as a favor to me for free one night. We paid Chris a fee to come up and teach the Sinclair cameramen how to be cameramen, and Tim ran the truck and directed the episode to try to get everybody on board with how things were done and what to go on. He's a great guy. But they had an NBA arena. They had 18,000 people in it. They had a legitimate production there because there wasn't any of the bullshit that you receive in the early days of this program from a production standpoint. And they had a major star, CM Punk. This was that segment did not look like AEW television. That segment looked like wrestling when it was over. An NBA arena full of people going batshit over a major star and good-looking production. That's the first time that AEW has had all four of those things at the same time. And with Danielson and Wyatt and or Flair and or Cole and or the next person who gets pissed off, they're going to give them more opportunities to do that. They are handing this over in a quick period of time and don't even realize it. So this is very interesting. And I will not now poo-poo AEW's chances over the next few months like I've been poo-pooing for the past couple of years, because sooner or later a blind squirrel finds a nut. Whether this has been serendipity, planning, or quite a bit of both. They've changed the fucking stratosphere here just over in the last month. And it looks like it'll continue to go that way, because the other side is the gang that keeps you straight. I'm amazed. I am amazed at the reversal, as they used to say in the business, of Tony Khan has just gone behind the fence and waistlined him. And he's fixing Iron Sheik and Brian Blair his ass if he's not careful.
It's a very interesting time. Let's talk a little bit about this before we get back to the Nick Khan interview, because you're really talking about the state of WWE versus AEW today in late August 2021.
That's one.
I've been saying it for a while. AEW has the momentum. Right now they're about to go into a period of time where they're going to add Bryan Danielson and who knows who else. WWE's running like fools with that star system, for lack of a better term, like the old film studio star system. And AEW is doing it very differently. So the good and the bad, you're getting raw talent on TV. Again, good and bad.
Yeah.
You're not getting watered down, bad acting. And if you are getting bad acting, it's people doing it on their own, not being directed to act bad.
It's their own fault, then, at least.
I have a world of concerns about the AEW booking. One of the few things that gives me long-term hope is that I've seen it firsthand. I was at Sony, saw it firsthand. Executive vice presidents come and go. I've seen executive vice presidents dragged out of their office into a freight elevator while their secretary empties everything into boxes. Executive vice presidents come and go. I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks vision of the Canton division. I don't know if they'll be with AEW forever. Same thing with Omega and everything he does. Cody, look, quite frankly, Cody's the most frustrating because he's the one in the past that would give you those moments where you thought he kind of got the concept, and then it wouldn't work out, and then he would disappear. And I think that Cody, wrestling's always been a vehicle as opposed to wrestling being the thing. Wrestling was always a vehicle to get in the same place else, but now they're adding the star power. They've got a foundation.
Let me just flesh out. Cody can give you the matches that Twinkle Toes can't, and that obviously the Hardly Boys can't. Cody can cut promos that sometimes they get a little off-putting because of their ostentatiousness.
Oh, yeah.
But he can talk, which is something that the Cucamonga kids can't do, and that old Harpo is just, unless it's a phone sex line, he's the shits at it. But Cody would also be the one to say, I don't need to do this all the time, and I don't need to be featured all the time. He can be an EVP and be here today and gone tomorrow and back and forth and whatever. He doesn't need to be in the middle of everything. The others, they have to be involved in this because they're trying to. The Bucks buried FTR, so they wouldn't be showing up there. They signed
for real. For anyone thinking we're joking around about that, you have no idea.
No, just look at the goddamn evidence in front of your eyes, for fuck's sake. They signed them up, they beat them, they diminish them, and then they might be having matches on Dark now if their substandard ring hadn't crippled Cash Wheeler. But anyway, because that was the other team that everybody said, the Bucks and FTR are the greatest teams. Well, we'll fix that. With Harpo, he can't get out of his own way, and Callis tries to get him over. But the point is, you get Punk, Danielson, a Cole, or a Wyatt. These guys render completely irrelevant the Cucamonga kids, and especially, and to much extent, Twinkle Toes. And also remember, not only have the Hartley Boys screwed up the tag team division, but Twinkle Toes is the one who has sabotaged the women's division from the start, thinking again that these outlaw, indie, Japanese gimmick girls that pretend to be wrestlers for the finish things over there are going to get over on national United States television. And, of course, Britt Baker was the gimme that, you know, it shows all they've been doing is trying to go for these goofy Japanese schoolgirls and the princesses and the Joshis and all that other shit. And the one girl that's gotten over is Britt Baker, because she's American and she can talk and she can work instead of wearing frills and lace and dressing up in genie outfits or wearing fake Freddie Mercury mustaches. Did you see Emi Sakura? The Freddie Mercury wannabe has actually moved here from Japan now to the United States. I hope she didn't sign a long-term lease, because the more that Twinkletoes' power fades, as he fades into irrelevance, hopefully we'll get rid of the Japanese outlaw girl pipeline, and they can shore up their women's division a bit, since they've got one girl now that's over.
Well, again, going back to my point, because you just decided
I'm just know-it-all, Miss Jack.
Well, I'm just going
Get out of your
fuck.
focus,
You know,
buddy.
you
Never
mentioned the
smiles.
EVPs.
Yeah,
They
I didn't know
don't,
what
they're
you're doing
unnecessary
yourself.
now.
Man, wait in your room.
It should have been a publicity stunt from the start, which is what I told him he should have done, which was tell the people that you're going to be nice to the wrestlers, you're not going to be the evil empire, and set up a player fucking board that associates and interrelates and is liaisons to the office, so that you've got somebody in there that is.
But enough crying. I believe you need an explanation. Your plans for the police.
You're right. I do owe you. My spear in your throat for deceiving me again. But the Hades Proving Lab.
I doubt West of you that kind of reckoning.
No. Right now, I need your help. So I'm giving you one final chance. But if you ever betray me again, I will kill you no matter what the circumstance. Understood.
Very well. Though we both face a decidedly short future, you can't get us inside that place.
Hey, Laura, your other guest is here. She's, coming to you.
Thanks.
Good timing.
The truth is,
I
I
can't
can't actually get us into the base.
But
she can.
The company you keep is worse than I thought.
Not a fan of surprises, are you?
Well,
Oh, look.
that
Must be your little invention.
Does the weapon work?
Without
Without
self-destructing?
Of course it does. I've eliminated the imperfections greatly improved its design and output.
How
How
can
can
you
we
be
be
sure?
sure?
Care for a demonstration.
Enough.
Both
Both
of you.
We're in
We're in
this
this
together.
together.
At least for
At least
now.
for now.
Go talk to Aaron.
Erend.
Tell him
Tell him I said
to
to
give
give
you
you rooms of your own.
I'll come
I'll come see you when I get a chance.
Oh,
Oh, no. You first.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
go
go
in
in
the
the
control
control
room.
room. They can tell us what she knows about the Zenith base. Hey,
Yeah.
I was thinking we could spar for a bit. When you have the time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Might
Might be a way to deal with him. Anger.
Yeah, grab up.
Aloy,
It
it appears that we have some interesting new guests.
I'm
I'm glad to see you're okay, though.
I
I heard you gave the Tanakh something to talk about. I was half expecting you to burst in through the ceiling riding a sunwing. Sorry to disappoint. Oh, before I forget, I'd like to discuss the land gods again, if you have time.
Any
Any progress with your plan for the land gods?
Is the
reboot code ready?
It
It is,
But
but there is difficult work ahead. Gaia warned me that because the land gods are linked together in a network, the code must be delivered to all of them. Most are in plain song, but in recent years, three of them wandered off. So, T, and Do. Do we have to find them? No. We know where they are, but they're hard to reach. So, wandered into a lake and sank. Do ventured into a dangerous canyon, and T broke down amidst a herd of machines. Okay. Tell you what. You go to Plain Song, handle all the land gods there. I'll take care of So, T, and Do. I'll need the locations, plus the reboot code. I'm sending the data to you now. My people made shrines near where each land god faltered. When you see them, you'll know you're close. And once again, thanks for your help. We're not gonna let your people starve, so I promise. Have you talked to any of our new friends? Aaron and I tried speaking to Silence, but apparently our tribal prattle is unnecessary. Charming, isn't he? Ready to head over to the database? Whatever comes, we will endure. Thoughts on our new Zenith acquaintance? I'd say she smells like death, but even death smells of something. She's more like a cold piece of metal, bent on repelling all semblance of life. She's definitely different. I have to go. I trust you to keep things civil around here. I'll make sure Aaron doesn't punch Silence in the face, if that's what you mean. Thanks. I keep thinking. He's just going to be standing there. There's Gwen stuff in here now. Must be all this.
We're taking those space lights down.
Did you need something?
I should go to my room and check out the focus I found at that rebel camp. There you are. Okay. The focus I got from the Sons of Prometheus is encrypted. I think I should be able to hack it. There. Got it. Engineer Team Smoke. Your request for materials was received and approved. A shipment has been dispatched. We're short on couriers, so we'll leave it for you in the wilds. Don't delay on pickup, the stuff is valuable. Coordinates are embedded in this message. Use it well for the cause. The Sons of Prometheus sent supplies to some of our operatives. Maybe we'll check it out. With Regal out of the way, Carl and Snow are safe. The future's up to them now. Do wish they'd drop all the honorary names they've given me. But if I've learned anything about them, it is not a battle I am going to win. One of Marlon's embers. A spark of a new dream for an ancient city. There's the pencil cards.
There. The land god shrines. So set this one sank in a nearby lake. Land gods are down there somewhere. Divers live. Zoe? You there? I'm here, Aloy. Had to swim a bit, but I gave the reboot code to So. Good. We used to celebrate So in the fall, at the beginning of the harvest, with wine made from elderflowers. When I was 12, I got tipsy on it and kissed a boy in the sage garden. How'd that go? He was so surprised he nearly fell into the mulch. It would be good to see So again. Plowing the fields in the afternoon sun. All right then. I'll head to Plainsong and deliver the code to the land gods there. A signal from focus. So sad this one broke down amidst a herd of machines. I better be careful. No shock ammo help. I guess they were leaving offerings to the land god. Looks like something. Right then. Whatever did it might still be around. Here's the one I've got. We'll have to deal with those machines before I install the reboot code. Passengers now. That's all the machines. Time to install this code on the network. Hey, Zoe? Aloy, how goes it? I found T and installed the reboot code. Fitting then that I feel thankful. T's festival came in winter, when all the grain from the harvest was stored away. It was a season of gratitude, and all the children would receive gifts. The best was my first bow, made of yew, strung by my father. Well, he definitely taught you how to shoot well. That he did. There's one more thing. I found 2 of your people. Stormbird got them. But I took it down. Oh. I'll make sure someone retrieves their seed pouches, so they may return to the land. How are things on your end? Getting there. A few land gods to visit still. Okay. I'll call you when I'm done with the last one. Thank you, Aloy. Stick for the stash.
This must be the shrine for the land god Do. Be past the shrines. Let's take a look. Gotta climb up to that land god. Now I just need to get rid of these vines. There, up on that ledge. This'll help you get better. That's the last land god. Zoe, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Aloy.
Just planted the reboot code on Do. He was a bit tangled up, but he's better now.
Good to hear. Do always returned to the sacred cave at the end of winter, so his festival foretold the coming of spring. During those times, I remember clinging to my mother by the hearth, snuggling for warmth, and listening to her sing of new beginnings.
Which is exactly what you're going to give to your people.
I hope so. When you can, meet me at Plainsong, and we'll send out the reboot signal. I've delivered the code to all the land gods, save one. Only La is left. I'm here with her, just east of the main village.
Okay, I'll get there as soon as I can. Diving in.
Should we stop her?
Aloy, you made it. So's back. All of the land gods have been updated. Now to send out the reboot signal.
What does this mean?
A new beginning. Gaia told me this would happen. To all of them. Doe, T, So, and the rest. She called it a reboot sequence. But I didn't think it would be so beautiful. Soon the land gods will return to tilling the soil as they once did.
Zoe, the chorus wants a word.
Of course they do.
Do you want me to come?
No need. I'll just tell them that our lands will soon bloom again. Who are they to argue? Find me later, and I'll tell you how it went.
Good luck.
So, how about on the stand, huh? Yeah. And it's easy. Oh, really? Hot.
said someone from the supplies too.
Might be worth
Taking a look around. Taking this. So I can't be too careful when it comes to these guys.
I will hunt you down like the animal that you are.
Because I can't be too careful when it comes to these guys.
no good. You know, you can, if you want, you can eat some of that cheesecake I got in there that's Sarah Lee. Walking on it. Honor and strength.
I hear you got an armor. Your enemy is listening to you. hear you got new armor. May you crush your enemies. Strengthen us. Our blades strike together. I hear you got new armor. Honor and strength. Good day. Honor and strength. Walk in honor. May you crush your enemies. Walk in strength. Find truth in battle. Good day.
Good day.
Your enemy
is mine. Walk in strength. Find truth in battle.
Good day.
Good day.
Honor
Honor and strength.
strike together. Strength and honor. Honor and strength. Walk in honor. May you crush your enemies. Strength and honor. Find truth in battle. I hear you got the armor. Your enemy is mine. Honor and strength. I hear you got the armor. Honor and strength. Today, our blades strike together. Today, may you crush your enemies. Today, honor and strength. walk in honor. Your enemy is mine. Strength and honor. Find truth in battle. I hear you got no honor. Your enemy is mine. Walk in strength. Our blades strike together. Dollar is defeated. Outlander. Your blade is all blades against it all. Hey, stranger. Are you looking to trade? She'll be back. That's now. Keep an eye on her.
Is she
Is she
sick?
sick? It's
Aloy,
Aloy,
isn't it?
isn't it? Walk with me.
I am
I am a
Ateka,
Tekka, commander of the Lowland clan.
The
The girl, Zella,
was
was poisoned by the blood choke.
For
For months it has polluted our waters, depriving us of food and clean drink. We've learned to live with it as best we can. But recently, without explanation, the filth cleared from much of the lowland. Yet one river still runs red, like a split vein from a rotted corpse. So the water here is still poisoned? Exactly. I sent my best squad to find its source, led by Zella's mother. They failed to report back. Akara told me how you challenged Valhalla, saved his life. So lend me your strength. Together we can find my squad and the source of the poison. Sounds like you know Akara pretty well. He was my commander before he was my chief. I had served in his squad since we...
bare-armed youths. Back then, he was a merciless warlord, determined to destroy any enemy of the Lowland clan. I was with him the day he took the grove. Stood guard outside as he claimed the throne within. He entered a conqueror, but returned with the ambition of ending the constant bloodshed between the clans. Because he saw Faraday's message. Yes. That vision changed him, gave him new purpose. He became our first chief, ruler of all Tanakh, and dedicated the tribe to fighting machines instead of each other.
Nằm im đừng nhúc nhích đi con. Yan, sino ka? chưa nha. Đóng cái gì? Cái chiếc cục này nó viêm quá trời. Nhà em có sử dụng em sử dụng loại thủy mặc loại gì hả Linh?
CRV.
Mà em bị tình trạng mụn như vậy là được bao lâu rồi?
2 năm.
2 năm. Hồi xưa giờ mình có đi lấy mụn lần nào chưa?
Có gì?
Thường là em đi lấy ở đâu em ha?
Gà Sapa chứ.
Mà từ lần ra Sapa tới giờ là bao lâu rồi em ha?
Đầu năm gì?
Đầu năm. Dạ. Ý là ra Tết hay qua đó nặng mụn hả?
Dạ, trước Tết.
Trước Tết. Trước Tết là cuối năm chứ nhỉ?
Đầu tháng 1 á.
Tháng 1.
Dạ.
Ý là cuối âm lịch, đầu dương lịch đúng không?
Dạ.
Khá lâu rồi hả? Để đó qua đây rửa mặt hai người. Em có làm ngực lưng gì cho anh không? Chịu khó chút cho hết, không có hư da hết. Đầu gối đầu nó Sóc Trăng hả?
Anh Sang về chưa em? Bạn anh Sang có lấy thuốc sao? Không có cỏ này chứ. Đi cho đỡ kia thì
Có xíu nhân xanh. Có chào mọi người. Nó lấy cái khẩu trang chị á. Mấy chị khẩu trang hết. nay em sử dụng loại rửa mặt loại gì hả Linh?
CeraVe.
Mà em bị tình trạng mụn như vậy là được bao lâu rồi? Hồi xưa giờ mình có đi lấy mụn lần nào chưa em?
Có chị.
Thường là em đi lấy ở đâu em ha?
Gà spa chị.
You're so close with Caro. Why aren't you spa tới giờ là bao lâu rồi em ha?
I wanted to serve as one, but Caro needed someone he could trust to lead the clan.
Đấy là test ngay qua đó nặng một
Desert and sky clearance.
Difficult
Difficult enough for him. But the
But the
title
title
wasn't
wasn't
handed
Đây
to
là
him.
cuối năm chứ nhỉ?
I
I
fought
fought
for
for
the
the
honor as
honor
our
as our
rights
rights
demand.
demand. Đầu tháng 1
5
5
days
days
of
of scars
and
and
blood.
blood.
By the
By
last
the
Đây là
last
sunset,
cuối
sunset.
âm lịch.
the new
The new
commander,
commander.
close to
Close
20
to
years
20
have
years have
passed
passed
since.
since.
This blood
Blood
choke.
choke.
Is
Is that what you call the red algae?
Yes.
Yes.
A couple
A couple
years
years
ago,
ago,
it
it
was
was
only
only
a
a
thin
thin
streak of
red
red
in the river.
It grew
Over
over time
time.
until
Until it was a constant
poison.
poison.
It
It
sickens
sickens
those who drink the polluted water, killed
from the fish we used to catch.
But a
But a
while
while ago,
unexplainably,
unexplainably,
the rivers
the rivers
began
began
to
to
clear.
clear. All except for one.
Because
Because
of
of
it,
it,
my
my
people
people
continue to
waste away,
weakening the clan.
I'll
I'll
help
help
you
you
find
find your missing squad.
Good.
Good.
I'm
I'm heading out now.
The
The longer the blood choke
remains,
remains, the longer my people suffer.
We'll
We'll
follow,
follow
the Red River. The
The
squad,
squad would have done the same.
Might be able to
Might be
pick
able
up
to
some
pick up some
sign
sign
of
of
them.
them.
You ready?
You ready?
Nói chung là
What are you making, Mom? No, I got something in the microwave. watch that new Scream movie. New Scream movie? Just watch it. Can't get y'all do nothing right now. You want a sound? I was trying to get Mom to come back there and watch a movie, but she don't want to. She's good for us. She's too good for us.
Well, come on, Ann. Let's watch it.
Oh, you can watch it right now?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. You watching anything, Carol? You watching anything on TV? Okay.
Actually, I have some things to do first.
I'll meet
I'll
up
meet
with
up with you.
Then I
Then I
will
will
follow
follow
it.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
Hell yeah.